Hi, Dan. Hi, James. Hi, Eric.
Hey guys.
Hey everyone, good to see you, Thomas, James, and Eric.
I'll try to mute my microphone while I'm chewing, but somebody remind me if I forget.
No
Okay,
problem.
yeah, it's fine by me.
Good. All right. We're five.
I love the in the sample preview video for the interface, and I thought that your room was quite good, Thomas. So I might have ranked you a bit higher. And James, I didn't know you had the raising desk before either. I
Yeah.
have one as well, and it's super
Dynamic
helpful.
background. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would have weighed heavily in my decision there.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool feature.
Yes.
All right, I guess we're a group of five today.
Looks like it. I guess. Yep.
Hey Marco.
Hey guys, I done some construction, so I'm gonna keep it on mute unless I'm talking.
Okay.
I love that we all kind of know each other. I know all of your faces in this room, and it's just yeah, it's cool. We're kind of getting to know each other.
Eric, I
Yeah.
don't think we've met, or maybe we have met, but maybe in Eden or someplace. You look familiar, but I don't know if we've ever had a chance to be in a meeting together. Yeah. Very cool. Well, it looks like we're all here. If anyone who would like to go first, or I'd be happy to choose someone to go first, and or unless you guys would like to do a little bit of preamble, but it's the best way for us to get to know each other is find out what we've been up to, and maybe we'll give each other 3 minutes, and then you have more to say than that, then we'll just open it up and start adding after we're all done. How's that sound?
That sounds good to me. And one thing I want to say first too is that I am recording and planning to share it on social media at some point.
Well, thank you, Dan. Appreciate that.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
sounds
I'm
great. You're
gonna
welcome. Thank you.
I'm gonna be a little timekeeper. I'm gonna try to remember to start a 3 minute timer when people start talking, and then as we get down to 1 minute, when there's 1 minute left, I'm gonna put this emoji up. Can you guys see that on my video? It's a little
Yes.
clock. So keep an eye out for that. That means you have 1 minute left if we want to stick to a 3 minute timer, and we don't have to. We're not gonna cut you off at 3 minutes, but you know.
And if everybody could rename themselves, we could hide logins. We can
Yeah.
Good call.
Dan
get
and
the
James.
spelling and everything right for that.
Sounds good. I feel like we're continuing getting some potential hints of the interface, although some of this won't be necessary. But like something like the thing that James mentioned with the timer, I could see that being helpful in the actual interface, maybe if it's not too cluttered.
All right.
Actually, I think we'll be looking for I'll
Oh no.
after. We'll talk about the UI after. So go ahead.
Okay. Cool.
Dan, would you like to go first, or who wants to go first?
I'm happy to go first. Should I, or would anybody like to go before me? Either way works.
Go for
Go
it,
ahead.
Dan.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So, yep, I am. I'm Dan St. Joe. I think I met everybody here. Although Eric, I don't know if we've spoken much, but I've been following you and very much appreciate your work. And also, I enjoyed being in your background last time too. uh, so, yep, I have a bit of a presentation here about what I'm doing to help Fractally. I was ranked. I was ranked 6th last week. So a few different things. One, I've been working to promote Fractally on EOS with the Eden Fractal. You can check out edenfractal.com. We're meeting every Wednesday at 13 UTC. And so this week we distributed the rankings. I've been managing the social media account for this. So just putting out tweets and doing a lot of the kind of accounting and background work, or just lots of details there, and then sharing the tweets to help promote it. And then I also recorded the meetings. It was a great meeting. There was like 16 participants. And then I also promoted Fractally at this meeting during my presentation. And then I encourage everybody to join this Fractally Genesis meeting at the end of it. I remember Dan was saying how it'd be great if people from other fractals could join. I completely agree. I also did some other work just with like marketing, which I feel like is also very relevant here for promoting Eden Fractal for EOS and also promoting the concepts behind Fractally in general. And so I just kind of started up a new channel there and just posted some of the promotional work that we've been doing there to help spread Fractally. I've also been working with Eden creators to create amazing content that everyone cooperate Fractally, make the best experience possible. And this week I've been working a bit on, or quite a bit, but I haven't finished it, Fractal tutorials to show how to do these presentations. So I've been working on this for a few weeks, and there's a text outline here of how to do it, but I've also been working on a video kind of outline that I'm putting together as well. And then that's not there, but hopefully this week I'll be able to do it. I also participated in the Alien Worlds Fractal this week that Dwayne Felipe is hosting, and I help promote that in a few places. Alien Worlds Fractal, I think, is a really helpful way to grow Fractally. It's the largest blockchain game in the world with, I think, over 150,000 players. And it's really exciting thinking about how it can work with like the cool visuals and stuff that Shakruz are saying and like fun visuals that we're doing today. So it's been amazing networking with people and meeting people there. I also recorded that, I posted it unlisted. And then I also promoted Fractally there and encouraged everybody to join. And then I also attended the Intro to Alien Worlds to learn more about it because I don't really know much about the game. So Dwayne hosted that, which is really helpful as well. So I could be more prepared. And then also in the Fractally after party last week, I spoke about this for a while with Dwayne and recorded that so we can learn these lessons for future Fractal founders. And then I also briefly promoted the Eden Fractal and Fractally on the EOS Hot Sauce, and then I'm almost out of time. And I also spoke on the Helios Twitter Spaces, and I spoke about the Alien Worlds Fractal and Fractally for like 20 minutes or so. They're a big venture capitalist firm in EOSIO. And then I also just read and retweeted a lot of the articles, like the one that Dan was talking about there, and did a lot of research and thinking, and also read and replied to Jorge's post about that. And that's everything. That wasn't too much time. Thank you.
You said, and that's everything as the timer hit 0. So perfect time.
There we go. Just as planned.
Perfect.
Nice, Dan.
Thank you.
All right, who do you pick to go next?
If anybody wants to go, then feel free. But otherwise, I suppose I'll pick James.
Cool. I am happy to go.
I'll track your time for you, James.
You got it? All right.
Give me 1 second.
I got it, Thomas. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Or you can do it too. I just also have the timer in front of me.
All right. It's all yours.
All right. Yeah, I'm James Mart. Like I said, I'm happy to say I at least know all your faces here. Eric, I think we've interacted a little less, but I know I've definitely met you before. Yeah, I work on the Fractally team. Last week, I ranked my contributions were judged to be level 5. Yeah, so I'm on the Fractally team. Quick overview of the Fractally team, just because, especially with the demo that was given today, this just might be helpful for people. We have a lot of things going on in parallel. So we have legal work, like with what Dan's blog post that came out, and that's with Dan and Gregory and some others in the company are working on like the legal side of things. We have a lot of front end work, and that's with Thomas and Val and Brandon and Mike Manfredi and John Williamson and others. We have back end work with me and Todd and Steven and Dan and Mike Manfredi. And then there's also educational efforts with writing blog posts. I'm actually 3 blogs. I have 3 educational posts that I've written that are like queued up basically, and we're getting ready to post them on the Fractally blog, but they're already written. 2 of those I completed in this last week in addition to my regular work. So my regular work is, as I said, the back-end stuff. So I worked 40 hours this week on the blockchain side of things, writing system smart contracts and also writing some infrastructure around front-end development, or developing the front ends for smart contracts. And we have some exciting innovations around that that we will announce at some point, hopefully soon. And that's it. That's what I've been working on.
2 minutes.
Yep. And I'm finished, so I'll just kick it off to Eric. You want to go next?
All right. I always try and look at myself in three areas. First of
Hey,
all,
look at that.
what can I learn to make myself a better asset? What can I share with other people? What can I actually do? So my learning, this is only, I think, my 5th week. So I started by reading More Equal Animals 3 times, did that, then read the Fractally white paper 3 times. This time, I focused on the legal status of DAO quote or DAO blog, and then I'm also did the intro to Alien Worlds. I cheat a bit because I worked for Alien Worlds for several months. So there you go. By the way, you can
Nice.
get this app just as it's a Zoom app that anybody can do. By the way.
That timer, you mean?
Sharing, so I try and share with 4 people each time with the More Equal Animals. For those, I try and follow up with them and move them onto the Go Fractally white paper, and those I try and actually move to on Byte. So far I've done 18, and then I did 2 more, and I moved 2 more to the Go Fractally. I also am working on a podcast, Building the Metaverse. And so Josh queued me up to a podcast DAO for that. So I started working with that. The guest I've done for here, I've got an episode scheduled with Dwayne Phillips, Amy Hines, Josh Seymour, and now I'm working on getting one to Dan to talk about the legal status to see if he'll go for that. I also did a test of our studio this week. So lights, camera, sound, all that equipment in our podcast studio to do that. As far as doing, I'm trying to find a real property to do. So we went and looked at Mexico, and then we narrowed down some properties. We started out this last week. We got actually agreement with a factory to put a factory there to build houses and provide income for that. The idea is let's create a physical and then match it with a virtual. I also then got the team that's building that, and I've slowly been bringing around for Fractal. Those were the 2 people this week that I moved to Go Fractally white paper. I also started talking to Josh Seymour this week about land DAOs as a possible way to integrate with that team. And then finally, in order to maybe turn this into a Fractal itself in the future, I've been working with Dwayne on the Alien Worlds Fractal. And that's what I have. Last week I was rated 4.
How many team members in your
Nice.
World Fractal? You've got 15 seconds.
What is the team like?
Yeah, how many people do you have in the
We've worked from 2 rooms the first time. This was only a second work. So now we're at 3 rooms breakouts. So we're at three breakout organization.
Awesome.
Yeah, although the rooms were smaller when we did, and this is something that came up because we had, I think, 13 people participating at this one. And so the thing that James brought up in the Eden Fractal Discord about the not being sure if we could do 4 people, we just decided to do 4 people in each group and then 5. But yeah, generally there's been like somewhere around 13 or a dozen people participating in the first 2 meetings so far.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right, Eric,
Yeah, of course.
who goes next?
Marco, go for it. After you unmute, of course.
Sorry if you guys can hear me, right? The guys can start making some noise now and again. Well, I missed last week. I attended the Eden Fractally. I wrote a section in US Weekly newsletter on Fractally. I've been doing so since before Fractally was Fractally. I was doing a meeting, so you'd see it come together there. I sometimes post to Hive. I'm thinking of doing that more often. May even move US Weekly over there as it transitions into something else. And I thought that was kind of important because we're using Hive accounts, but nobody's introduced the network. And just leisure discussions. Oh, there are invitations to join the white paper discussion in those little bits in the newsletter. And Thomas, your turn.
Marco, was that the end? I think I missed the last thing you said. Okay, cool. All right, nice. And then Thomas.
I work with the Fractally team, and I'm there with James. We haven't been working together this past week, but I work together with Brandon and Mike and Dan. And what I've been doing for Fractally, let me just begin with last week. I couldn't join because I was flying. I was traveling, so I couldn't be in the group. But the week before, I was ranked number 6, and so this past couple of weeks I've been working on the UI, and I think you guys saw a demo of it, working out the responsive layouts for desktop and mobile web, such that it will all lock in and won't scroll in weird ways, and have a very simple methodology for indicating when everybody's in consensus, when they're out of consensus. And the past week I updated the entire design system so that we can start having all of the other designs, which will include tables and graphs and a lot of other things, information that will show weekly what somebody's rank was, so you can actually hit their picture, see what their rank was over the past 8 to 10 weeks, on a scale or on a chart and graph, and get a little bit of information about their bios and things like that. Those are designed in. I started working on and completed a lot of dark mode components, so we can have a light and dark mode in the UI. Cleaned up a lot of broken things as a result of moving to the new system, and updated, how the tabs will work and badges, and there's hundreds of little components, and getting them all to work together. So basically have a strong design system and a design flow for a lot of the UI, and then I combine them into responsive layouts so we can see how they operate before they go into development, to speed things along, so we don't have to do it more than once. So yeah, I guess mostly been working with Brandon and Mike and Dan. And I guess, last week, 2 weeks ago, I invited somebody, Linus, who's joined us. He has a legal background. So he has a legal, business, and software development background. He couldn't join us this week, but he is very interested in Fractally. So I've got a new person who's joined Fractally. So it's a very successful invite. He runs hackathons, and he also runs some multi-thousand person user groups. So we're looking of developers. So I'm looking to expand through him into these larger groups of people in Southern California, like in the Orange County area, Irvine. So that's been it for me.
Perfect timing.
All right, awesome. Thanks, James.
By the way, I have some very unique hackathon-like experience. So if anyone's interested in talking hackathons, unique spin on those.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that, actually. I'll put you in touch with Linus too.
I have a couple questions for people before we go into the rankings. Okay, so Eric, I have a couple questions for you. Did you say you invited 2 people to our Fractal this last week, or did I misunderstand?
No, I invited 1 to the Fractal. I invited 2 to the Go Fractally. So I move them from More Equal Animals, and then I follow up, and if they like that, then I say, let me share the Go Fractally white paper with them. And if they respond to that, then I say, hey, you ought to participate.
Nice
So
funnel.
out of that stack, I moved 1 from More Equal Animals to Go Fractally in there, and I moved 2 additional ones to from More Equal Animals to the Go Fractally.
And when you say go Fractally, you mean read the white paper?
Yep, I share the white paper with them. So I do More Equal Animals, I follow up, see if they want to have a discussion. If they do, then I move them to the Go Fractally white paper. And if they like
Nice.
that, then I say, sorry, marketing guy, I think, in terms of
Yeah, that's a thank you for that. That cleared that up for me. And then, actually, I think that's my only question. Does anyone else have other questions, clarifications?
I just had a quick question for Eric as well. You said you read it for the third time, and you read the white paper for the third time, both Mortal Animals and Fractally white paper this week.
No, I did
Okay.
that prior to the following week. So that
Uh,
since I started, I did the More Equal Animals 3 times. Then I moved myself to the Go Fractally, and this week I went to the legal status of DAOs. So
okay.
that's what I go at reading 3 times through is the legal status of DAOs.
And then I have one more question for you, Eric, that I just remembered. For the podcast, did you actually already record all those episodes, or you just have a
No,
list of people you're...
right now we're shooting for August, and so I'm putting 10 episodes into the pipeline. So
Right.
I'm doing episode planning and getting buy-in by 10. Then I plan to do at least 4 and hopefully 8, so that I can drop one a week to do that.
Yeah.
So this week, in terms of doing that, I actually met with Josh Seymour. So I try and meet with one person a week to talk about an episode that we can do. So Josh and I spent about 2 hours talking about an episode, and then we
Nice.
talked about possible placement for Dan. And he gave me Gregory's email and say follow up with Gregory and invite Dan to talk about the legal status of DAOs on a podcast. This podcast is associated with a university, so it's got credibility. And then I tested the podcast room with lights, cameras, full dress rehearsal, so that I
Nice.
know who will record and fit into the editing software.
Awesome.
All right. Any other questions or clarifications? Cool. The strategy we've been using in the groups I've been a part of is to all try to post the rank 6 kind of at the same time in the chat, and then if there's mismatch, we talk about it, and we'll go through the rankings. Does anyone have a objection to that strategy?
That's perfect. And by the way, just this is how I'm trying to find a good model. I'm a university professor too. We use rubrics. So when I listen to you, I'm taking notes here, but I write down what's going to have immediate impact, what's sharing this, and who's working on things which may not have immediate impact, but have potential future value. Because if you don't put the future in there, it never happens. So companies do that with balanced scorecard. The ones that succeed really focus on the future. Just letting you know that's what I'm trying to do, but I'm open to everybody's idea on how to.
I definitely like that. I tend to... Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, I get that you're building a foundation for with the funnel and a process ongoing, and I really look forward to seeing the results that come through for Fractally. But it sounds very promising and awesome what you're doing. So thanks for sharing that, and thanks for your contributions. Those are really very valuable.
All right. Dan, were you going to say something? Or should we go on to the ranking?
Yeah, I was going to add on to that and say thank you to Eric and thank you for everybody for the contributions. I'm not exactly sure how to rank everybody, but I really appreciate everybody's contributions. So I just wanted to.
I too.
I just want to say that it's all awesome, and also like James was saying before too, it's great that we all like get to know each other, and it's amazing to see that everybody's contributing so much, both in this group and the larger group too. So yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here and thankful for everybody.
Cool. All right. If everybody could write the name of the person whose contributions you believe should be at level 6. And thank you, Eric, for putting that in the chat. That's a good idea to break up the rankings with it. All right. And 3, 2, 1. All right. 2 for Thomas and 2 for James and 1 for Dan. Oh, and there's only 5 people. Okay, so I'd like to make a case for Thomas. The finishing of the UI in this last week is something that has really immediate and tangible impact, not only for our Fractal, but for others who can see the direction that we're going. And I tend to pretty heavily discount things that are only beneficial to the future, which is where I classify my own work in. So even as I obviously value the work I'm doing, and I think it's important, and it is not ready yet. And so for that reason, I would value Thomas's over my own, and then I hope that the community values my work a lot, especially when it's live.
That's the same reasoning I did for Thomas. Well, I probably weight the future a little higher than you do. The stuff Thomas is gonna, that could start working next week or this month, or I mean,
Yeah.
that have a real value not only for us using it, but the ability to share it and for the future on it. That's what people see.
So do we have? I see Marco changed to Thomas, and actually that's 3 out of 5. So I think,
I'll
yeah.
accept that.
There,
Voted for myself.
if I could say something too, I'm happy to vote for Thomas as well. And also, Marco, would you mind muting it when you're not speaking, because it is kind of loud with background noise. But yeah, part of the reason too. So if we were to reach a consensus on Thomas, that's totally cool. I think that both James and Thomas are both doing incredibly helpful work. A big part of my decision to vote for James was simply just looking at the total amount of respect and rankings overall, which I don't know if it's exactly how we should rank it, because I mean, we talk about how we should rank contributions, and it's very difficult for me to parse which contributions are more valuable in this circumstance, although the stuff that the points that James made make sense here. But another thing that I think might be like helpful criteria to keep in mind is just like I don't know, kind of including the contributions, but just trying to get like the optimal respect distribution as well. And like the fact that James has something like 45 less respect than Thomas. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but that was kind of part of it too. I think that James has done incredibly helpful work for Fractally, of course, over the past 18 weeks. And then James was also really helpful in starting the second fractal with the Eden fractal. So I'm happy to go with Thomas, but that was also some of my logic for ranking James. And if we don't rank James 6, then I would advocate for ranking James number 5.
So we are in consensus on level 6. Thomas?
I think so. And I guess we can rank level 5 if you guys are ready to go forward.
I think so. Thank you, Dan. That's actually I think looking for an overall good distribution is definitely worthwhile.
Thank you for all the information. I've not been tracking respect at all, so.
Yeah, and that's just something that I noticed that Felix has been doing. Felix Reeves, he does at the beginning of each meeting. He does a screenshot of each, and then he shares it in the Zoom chat. I haven't really figured out how to do that. I have to I guess just do the file, but that might be helpful. I think that'd be very helpful. I was glad to see when you said the user interface you're planning on having, where you can select the last 10 ranks or whatever. And I would suggest even further back than that as well might be helpful as well, because I feel like that's a helpful thing to be able to consider while you're in the meetings.
All right, I'm always looking for ideas. So if you have any, please shoot them my way. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. So with that, would you guys like to move on to? Or I'll hand it back to James, and you can lead us in the next step for level 5.
All right, everyone, write the names in the chat. Give me a thumbs up when you are done. Okay, just post it. So people started going. All right.
Looks like 1, 2, 3 for James, 1 for Dan.
Cool.
4 for James. So it looks like Thomas and James.
Yep.
We give consensus on that.
Yep. All right, and then level 4. 3, 2, 1. All right. Yeah, I think we have consensus.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd also like to say here too, kind of with the same kind of, I guess not argument sounds too argumentative, but same reasoning, that I think Eric is doing super helpful work. Eric is newer to the community, but I think that he's bring a tremendous amount of value, and I'm also excited to see what kind of value he'll bring. And I have quite a bit of respect. I'm one of the people with the most respect right now, so I'd be happy to rank Eric higher than me. I'm happy to accept this ranking too as well. But I figure that that we might want to consider ranking Eric above me, because that might be helpful as well.
Well, the only two people that would know the difference between the value of what you two are contributing is the two of you. So that's up to you two to decide.
My argument for ranking Dan's contributions higher than Eric's for now is that it's really the same reason I would rank Thomas's above my own, which is the immediacy of the impact. Dan, you're participating in 3 different fractals, and you're a very public, vocal supporter of what we're doing, and that has immediate impact on raising awareness, which is one of the core things. So, Eric, those podcasts in particular, I'm pretty pumped about. So I'm very excited for that, and I think that as soon as these things are going live and some of your other efforts you have are going live, I will, then I would reconsider. But in this case, I think it makes sense just based on the
Sense
impact.
to me.
Cool.
I agree too, because I'm looking at this thing, so I have some immediate things that Dan's doing with the content creation, which, by the way, if anybody hasn't done content creation, that's much harder and cooler and more impactful than you'd imagine. So that's what got it for me, is the content creation. Then the shares are big, but again, he's also thinking about the future. So I think Dan is pretty evenly distributed in those 3 areas of immediate sharing and future work.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Well, sounds good. Thank you. And yeah, I'm happy to help, and that works for me.
All right, guys.
All right, level 3. 3, 2, 1.
All right. Got it.
Yeah, looks like we have consensus, and then that also means we have consensus on the level 2 as well, which is Marco. I will just say something real quick, which is that Marco's writing a weekly newsletter, which I've read, and it's really good. And it's, I think, a testament to the effort that this entire community is putting in, that somebody who writes a weekly newsletter is that contribution ends up getting out competed by the other contributions in a group, because that's a great contribution. So, Marco, I really appreciate your writing, and I do hope that you continue.
Can you
And
share
you get level 2 this week.
That, by the way?
Oh.
Yeah, Marco could share a link to that. Be great. I'm sorry, James. I overspoke what you were saying.
No, not at all.
It's EOS Weekly. If you're not familiar, it's on crypto.
Did I get that right and everybody's spelled right?
Good call. Everyone double check the chat to make sure your Hive name is spelled correctly.
And that I got the right order?
Yeah, looks good to me.
Yeah, that's correct as well. I was also going to add to one. Marco just shared the crypto writer link, and I shared a link to post recently from Marco's Twitter. And yeah, just kind of echoing what James said a bit, I guess. I really appreciate Marco's newsletters, and then also participation in all these events too, in the Eden Fractal as well. Marco's been there like the whole time, and been very helpful starting there. It also was a bit difficult to hear you, Marco, too. So I don't know if I caught everything as you're speaking with the background noise. So I appreciate you mentioning that. But in the future, if you're able to somehow get in an environment where it's easier to hear you, that might be helpful.
And the guy is a professional contractor, so every month or so he does some motivation on the weekend. But I would really like to get invited to the Fractally Alien Woods thing, if at all possible.
Sounds great. Yeah, that's invited to everybody, and I'll share a link with you. It's every Thursday at 16 UTC. Yeah, and then there's also, if you're interested, Dwayne is hosting a introduction to Alien Worlds for people who aren't very familiar to learn about Alien Worlds every Monday at 16 UTC.
I'll check that out, but I have an account.
It's also on YouTube. They recorded the last Mondays, which is pretty good.
Yep, that's correct. And you also don't need to you also don't need to really follow Alien Worlds for 10. You can just join just to learn about it. You don't have to learn in advance. I didn't.
Could someone please post the link to the Hive account or the Hive post?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Have it handy.
For my
There it is.
articles or what? The
For the Hive,
yeah.
yeah.
Where we
Okay, got it.
posted.
Oh, Hive blog. Perfect. Thank you. Saturday, July. My God, I can't believe it's July already.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute again. Oh, but I didn't hear the last thing you said, Eric.
I'm not sure if Eric was speaking.
You had said something and Eric answered you. It was kind of low.
I'm not sure what you're referring to. But just by the way, I did just send the Alien Worlds link in the chat. By the way.
I see.
Nice. Dan, that's a good idea to have some view of how people have been doing. I like your idea, or whatever Felix is doing, to like post a screenshot in the beginning of a meeting that kind of shows how people have been ranking over time. I guess one comment on that is in the future it'll be more helpful to look at the contribution levels over time, like the 1 through 6, rather than the total respect, just because respect at some point will be tradable. So people will be able to just buy and sell respect. So like your total respect token balance will be not a... Yeah.
So do you mean contribution levels, like average ranking, like 1 through 6, or do you just mean like the total amount of respect earned as opposed to respect that is potentially purchased?
I guess those are actually derivable from each other. Actually, they're not derivable from each other. The best is the levels. So, yeah, the best way to tell how people have been doing over time is actually to look at the sum of their contribution levels over the past 12 weeks. And you might ask why 12, and I don't remember if that was a public thing yet or not. But we're in the white paper.
You have to join a meeting at least once every 12 weeks.
Yeah, I think according to the white paper, people might not know that yet. But that's the current thinking anyway with how we've been looking at it. So, but that it's a sum of your levels over the last 12 weeks. So you just sum the last 12 weeks levels, and that's that person's like basically their. That's how you can relatively order people in terms of their contributions to the fractal.
I see Marco has hands up, so I suppose if you want to go first, Marco, then feel free. But there's something I'd like to say in response to James at some point.
Go ahead. Just let me know when I can unmute.
Okay, sure. I was so one. I guess I'm still curious about what exactly you mean. That's for the last 12 weeks. What specifically you're referring to? And then 2, I feel like there might be like a bit of a misalignment in incentives, because I feel like for somebody like me, I'm right now like right there with Gregory and behind Dan in the 2 spot in terms of total respect, and I appreciate that so much. I'm so grateful and honored. But then also I feel like there is good reason to rank like people who are new to the community higher, like to help maybe make a more a less Pareto kind of distribution, and also to encourage new people to join. But at the same time, I don't want to like rank myself too lowly and get like an average rank that's lowly, which decreases like governance rights. Like for example, if I rank 2 in every week, then that would give more opportunity for new people to join. But then if I did that for 12 weeks, then that would, I guess, with some governance, that would make my governance rights, or I don't know if it's governance rights the right way to phrase it, but that that could have some negative effects in terms of how much I can interact with the system or something like that. So I don't know. Those are kind of just like some general and not very refined thoughts, but that's something I thought about before that it might be helpful to realign that in some way to make it more easy for welcoming like new members with more respect, perhaps is a way to put it. But I don't know. I had just some thoughts.
Quick response, and then we can go to Marco. We only have a couple minutes left, but so to provide the further clarity you asked for, the first topic, 12 weeks is an important metric. That is the distinction between whether you're a full-time or part-time member, depending on the percentage of meetings you've attended over the last 12 weeks. And if you've attended 0 in the last 12 weeks, you're not even a part-time member. So the optimal way to relatively organize people in terms of their contributions to the fractal, as judged by the community consensus, is by the sum of the total levels of the contributions over the last 12 weeks. That's all I'm saying. And it's and it's actually better than the sum of respect earned through these consensus meetings. But I can't justify that to you. I can explain it to you later offline if you want to know more about why that is.
Okay.
And then your concerns are heard. One thing to keep in mind is that we don't want to have a particular end state in mind when we do mechanism design. So you're trying to create the means which justify themselves most correctly, as opposed to finding some end state like a particular distribution curve that you then try to make the mechanism fit that distribution curve. That's upside down. So we just want to have a consensus mechanism that's as simple and neutral as possible, that justifies itself as best as we can, and whatever the curve ends up looking like is whatever it looks like, and that is what it is. So
I can touch on that too.
yeah, so there's that's what I would say to that. And if there's people who want to create a little distribution pool to give to new members as like a welcoming
That's what I
committee
was
and
gonna
whatever,
say.
that would be awesome and might be valued highly. And then that team, the welcome committee team, might get ranked even higher and whatever. So
It's
like
outside the curve, but
yeah,
still-
layer 2 can do things like that, so we don't have to modify like the layer 1 mechanism.
Okay.
Go ahead, Marco.
So now that you got that out, and it's, I had said a while back that when I see a Fractally team member that's always ranking 6, just to now rank him 6 and then create a top end pool where we send it back in, just so the distribution doesn't get bottlenecked into a network of people that don't know each other. It's a bit different from what you had said, but I still created the pool anyway because of that. But there's something that seems to be overlooked. When you rank 6, you move on to the next round. That should be an important consideration that someone who's never ranked 6 or someone that infrequently ranks at the top be considered. If you're going to attack a network, you're probably not going to care the total amount as much as how often it moves forward. So that's all.
Before we end up running back to the next room, if there's anybody who wants to talk about a Metaversal podcast episode that you'd like me to help promote you and get it so you can even sell a shirt, feel free.
And interesting. I'd like to know more if you got a link.
Yeah.
I'm at Westridge if you're on Telegram. So if you see my last name in there, it's the same for Telegram. That's a good way to get a hold of me. And the also thing is I'm working to turn this into a dissertation for a doctoral dissertation. So that's another reason I'm playing with this stuff, and maybe the property is
Awesome.
write up a real document, maybe a book, something, so that gets the word out with some proven things.
Didn't find you on Telly.
So I'm about 3 or 4 months between having to lock in what I'm doing. anybody has any ideas.
Nice. It's
Cool.
exciting.
Sounds good. Yeah, very exciting. James said that, and last time the timer just ended like instantly. It was at the 60-second timer, so he's going to end it at in approximately 1 minute, but it might end at any moment. So I just wanted to say before it ends, one, thanks James and Marco for the interesting discussion and great points. Looking forward to discussing more at some point and learning more, of course. And then Eric, that sounds cool too, and I would love to work with you in some way with what you're working on and the podcast and stuff like that. So at some point, it'd be great to connect with you more. And then yeah, thanks everybody again so much for the great meeting.
Dan, how do I reach you?
I'm at Dan Singjoy on Telegram or Twitter or Discord, and I'm also at Dogman Labs, whichever one you prefer.
Thank you all for your links too. Very helpful.
And if you want that timer, just go to apps and Zoom and you can find it and load it for yourself.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Recording in progress.